as the season winds down and there are fewer and fewer teams at play. Beat reporters are working harder, NBA reporters are working harder, and you're starting to see more and more stories about who's going to be available, who's interested in who. Some of it is just dot connecting. Some of it is just speculation. Some of it might be real. Right now, it's just talk. And that's all we doing is we talking. And a name popped up over the weekend that we have talked about quite a bit on this show, namely because we're trying to help out Jesse's Boston Celtics, who appear to be in some sort of financial peril.
Yeah.
Franchise could fold.
Could fold. That's what I've heard. Those are the reports coming from the Boston Globe. Jrue Holiday linked to the Sacramento Kings. Nothing more than the Kings are expected to have interest in Jrue Holiday, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone paying attention. But it's something that does make sense for both teams. It's a player at a position that makes sense for Sacramento. It's relief that the Boston Celtics need financially. It could be a thing that works out for everybody. So again, there's a lot of dot connecting here. There's a lot of speculation here, but it is a name that we're talking about outside of Sacramento that now is being linked to the Kings.
So I saw this on Saturday or whatever it was about the Kings potentially having interest in Jrue Holiday. And I had tweeted out, I said, for where the Kings are right now, Jrue Holiday or a player like Jrue Holiday is actually a great, realistic option for a pickup or what they may try to do. And people, it wasn't everybody. It went crazy, but some people were like, what? That's crazy. Like Jrue Holiday, he's 34. He makes this amount of money, and that's not going to get you a championship. What are we doing this for? All this other stuff. I said, look, the Kings, as much as some people.
We talking about championship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As much as people want them to. And remind me, if we ever get to bump it or dump it today, I got something very interesting for the Tank crowd. Very, very interesting for the Tank crowd. But
we ain't missing bump it.
The whole mindset of just blow everything up, get rid. That's not happening, guys. That's not happening.
I thought we've accepted that already. Like, what are we doing?
That's not happening. They're not blowing everything up. I don't want to say there's a mandate, but I do think that Vivek and ownership probably wants to try to make the playoffs next year, wants to be in the playoffs next year. That would be my thought process. And especially if you're not in a position where you're just going to sell everything and start all over and tear it down, yeah, try to get to the playoffs. And Jrue Holiday can help with that. He is a point guard, is an organizer that this team needs. Even at his age, I still think he is one of the better perimeter defenders in the game today. He's a guy that can balance out that lineup and balance out that backcourt where if you don't think Zach LaVine is any good as a defender, you can put Jrue Holiday out there and he can help with guarding different guards. And his size allows him to guard both point guards and shooting guards in some respects. I think he'd be a great pickup for the Kings, especially for where they're at. They can't tear it all down. Because of that, you want to win games. I hate to break the news, and we've talked about it a number of different times, but with that roster, yeah, you probably want to win games. You probably want to try and see if you can get into the playoffs. I think Jrue Holiday will help with that.
Is there
Jrue? What would you be looking for from Jrue on this team? Like just his defense and just move the ball around, or
defense, steadiness.
Because he had a career low in points. I mean, going back to his rookie year, he shot like this year. I love Jrue Holiday this year. Like he showed, I think, some age.
He's definitely on the end of his career. I don't think it's over though.
Yeah,
I think he can still be productive. And like you said, you're looking for a guy that might average 13 a night. Leadership, play defense, almost like a little bit younger version of what you would hope to get out of Chris Paul. He's not a young Chris Paul because that guy was fantastic and he was a maestro. He's not that.
Mhm.
But if we went and got Chris Paul right now, like you'd be getting like at the end Chris Paul. This is a little bit before the end Chris Paul's, which you might be getting with Jrue Holiday or a poor man's version of that.
I just wonder how much of a dip, if he does take any more, he's like gonna have. Because, like I said, he's just not as quick. He's still good defensively, but he just looked a step slower.
Mhm.
And I don't know if, like, maybe next year they'll help the Kings, but I don't know if that's something you want to deal with 2 years from now. And I just don't know how much he fits. Like, he's like the position, yes, but he just, I don't know, Jrue just looked a little less like Jrue Holiday this year, is what I'm saying, I guess. Just didn't shoot the ball well, wasn't great offensively. Still really good defensively and all that, but so he did take a step back, I will say.
Can I be honest about Jrue Holiday a little bit? Just a little bit.
No lie.
I think he's great.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
No, Jrue is seriously, I do think he's a really good ball player. I've always thought he's a little overrated. Like that contract when they signed it, everybody's like, "This is great. This is what you got to do. You got to have Jrue Holiday here." That's a lot of money for Jrue Holiday, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah.
But you
But
want
if
that
you-
now?
Yeah,
Huh?
but if
You want that now, though?
It's 3 years.
but
left,
if you
right?
had gotten, is it 3?
I think it's 3, yeah. It'd be next season and then 2 more after that, I believe. I'm going to double check, though.
But if you had gotten a second title this year, wouldn't that have made it like now it feels like you signed the deal, you got one. When I think the thought was you're signing that deal, you probably getting a couple. Now you feel like, okay, we couldn't get the second one. Oh, the third one is in serious doubt already. Now you're in year 4 with Jrue Holiday. Jason Tatum is returning from an Achilles injury. I don't know, man.
I don't know how much Brad Stevens had in mind that Jrue Holiday would finish out this contract with the Celtics, too.
Oh, I'm sure he.
But
did.
after this season, yeah, he's got 3 more years, and the last year is a $37 million player option. He'll be 38 after that. He'll be 37 the year of the player option.
Can I ask a disrespectful question of my own?
Sure.
I think very highly of Jrue Holiday.
Mhm.
Would signing Keon Ellis just be a better option?
Depends.
Jrue Holiday's a better point guard,
He
Yeah.
is.
which is what you're kind of looking for.
Yeah, Drew's still a much better player. I don't want to say Drew's still like a level above Keon. I think.
No,
probably 2
I
levels
don't.
above,
I
something
don't
like
doubt that
yeah.
at all. Like I'm not questioning that whatsoever. 3 years, 36 and some change per year, right?
Mhm.
That's what I'm comparing it to.
Mhm.
Less Jrue Holiday and more, and I hate doing this, but more Jrue Holiday, 100 plus mil, and Keon Ellis. 30. I don't know what Keon. I have no idea what Keon's going to make.
No, I feel you.
Is
I
Keon Ellis a
absolutely
point
feel you.
guard though? Like, do we want to do that again?
I probably not, but I guess maybe a better way. Is he your best option?
Keon
No.
or Drew?
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
he's the best option. I think he's a rumor that we heard this weekend.
Well, so it depends on.
But
what-
he's a guy we've talked about though.
Yeah,
He's a guy when it was falling apart for Boston or
But, like,
after it fell apart, it was like, hey,
the deal would also be like DeMar for Drew, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
DeMar
sure.
Bay, or a 3-teamer or whatever you got to do at that point.
Yeah, because I don't know how much DeMar fits on the Celtics and how much they like to shoot threes and just kind of live on the perimeter and all that.
Yeah, it whatever the 3-team, if it's a 3-team or something like that. But here's the thing that I want people to be real with themselves about. Shout out TC. Like, you keep talking about a point guard. They need a point guard. They need defense. Where else? I don't want to say where else you're going to find that, but that's what he brings. Everything that everybody talked about. Somebody that doesn't need the ball in the offense. Somebody that's a perimeter defender to help out Keegan. Somebody that balances out the roster. Find another point guard who's going to do that.
fine. Shay.
Got me.
Got it.
If they were to trade for Drew, is the core three Levine, Sabonis, and Jrue for however long? Like that's your top three.
Well, I mean, it would be for another year.
Well, yeah, for the that going into next season though.
Yeah.
Okay. Should there be an exploration of younger point guards with the idea maybe they're not as skilled as Jrue Holiday is in the 2024-5 campaign, but maybe the year after that, with the thinking of you have another full year of Zach LaVine's contract, and this immovable contract of Zach LaVine suddenly becomes very, very movable for teams that are trying to get off money, get under the apron, teams that might be blowing it up, teams that might just desperately need a scorer. All of a sudden, that $46 million for a single season or whatever, the $50 million, whatever it is for Zach LaVine, suddenly is very attractive to multiple teams. And now you're using these different assets you've had that maybe are a little bit older to get a little bit younger. Maybe none of that works. Maybe that's all wishful thinking, and maybe that's some sort of version of retooling and rebuilding without tearing down and completely restructuring. I'm not sure. I could be making all that up, and it's never happened in the history of the NBA. But.
So let me throw some names out there and see what you guys think about this. I went to 2027 point guard free agents. So that's this is two summers from now. That's because I don't think you're going to be able to get. I'm just trying to be realistic with the DeRozan trade. I don't think somebody's going to give you an expiring contract in a DeMar DeRozan trade. You're going to have to take a player or something that somebody's looking at like, hey, we got to get off some money or get off this player or something like that. So here are some of the point guards. I won't even deal with Steph, Dame, Luka, SGA. Jrue's right there. DeJounte Murray coming off the Achilles. Would you rather try to trade for him?
No.
Cole Anthony.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I give that one a thought.
Yeah.
I like Cole Anthony.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I like Cole Anthony. You're not getting Scoot.
Yeah, I don't think he's better, by the way.
Right.
I don't think Cole Anthony's better than Jrue Holiday.
You're not getting Scoot. You're not getting Stephon Castle. You're not getting the men. You're not getting Lonzo. Not getting Rob Dillingham. Casey Wallace is here. You're not getting him. Now we're at Devin Carter.
Fine.
Devin Carter, Chris Dunn, guys like that, like Jose Alvarado. I don't know if you're going to find Cole Anthony might be the one, but I don't know if you're going to find a point guard that fits everything that everybody was complaining they wanted just a couple months ago.
You're taking DeMar off this team, adding Jrue. Who else is doing the scoring besides LaVine, though?
You gotta hope Keegan scores a little bit more. You gotta hope Sabonis steps his game up.
That might be a more consistent scorer, assuming, of course, that he's here.
Malik Monk is gonna have to get back to, being
that.
What
does that trade even look like? DeMar and who? Because probably not DeMar by himself.
For DeMar, like the Celtics, the Jrue one?
Yeah,
it's DeMar. Yeah, DeMar for Jrue that works.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I think the idea would be the Celtics essentially just wanting to shed money.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out what's the rules. Can the Celtics do that as a second apron team? Can they just shed money without it? Because it's got to get to 80% of the contract. The salaries have to match up to at least the 80%.
Yeah.
So that reaches the 80%.
Yeah, James, I think, said the deal works straight up this morning on the Insiders.
Okay.
Or something along the lines of that. And yeah, the idea would be like DeMar is Celtic for 1 year, and then you're off his money the year after
that. Just to humor everybody, we can go. Well, this is a name I like. We'll go to people that quote unquote may be expiring this year. Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart.
No, I'm probably never going to say no to that, but
I'll say no to Marcus. I like Marcus Smart actually though,
No,
and he's
You've
expired.
hated Marcus Smart since this show was
It's true.
started.
That's
You
not
don't like Marcus Smart, the
We
point
have
guard. Yeah.
evidence.
That's not true. I like Marcus Smart. I take Marcus Smart.
So
Here in
why does
Sacramento.
that bum keep taking all those shots from
No.
Tatum at the end of the game?
Pretty much.
I take Marcus Smart here in a heartbeat. I don't think he's a point guard though. I think he's combo guard / shooting guard.
Yeah. And I don't know that we want to get ourselves in trouble doing that again.
Yeah.
No thanks. I love Marcus, but
We need an organizer.
Colin Sexton. We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like that
intrigued by
name better
Colin
than
Sexton.
I
Jrue,
like
I
Colin
think.
Sexton a lot.
Yeah.
Of the Cleveland Cavaliers, right?
the Cavs.
Shout out, Mitch.
Yeah, that's really about
What's
it.
Colin Sexton's deal look like?
Let's pull him up. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. He's an unrestricted free agent
Oh,
so this year's an expiring.
yeah, 19.1 next year. Huh.
I'd really try to go after Colin Sexton. I like.
Yeah, I do not hate that at all.
Well, it kind of fits because if it's not working with Levine and those guys, like it fits the timeline if it's time to move on. Or maybe it works.
I think it might. I keep saying I like Colin Sexton. I think he can. He's still young enough. I like his game. I think he brings an equal amount of intensity on both the defensive end and the offensive end. I'm in favor of Colin Sexton being in Sacramento.
I like that one better than Jrue Holiday for the Kings.
Better than Jrue?
Yeah, I agree.
I like that too. I mean, Colin will be 27, or Colin will be 27 next year. All right, we did it.
Great job, well done. Let's go home, everyone.
Stealth, the producer,
See you guys in July.
he says Giddey not workable, huh? Our guy Drake Yu, big Josh Giddey fan, and Josh Giddey went crazy in the final month and a half of the season. Like he was putting up crazy numbers for the Bulls to end the season. My concern with that is, once again, people say they want defense. Now you got a backcourt of Giddey and Levine on the defensive end. That doesn't fit what everybody's been talking about. So that would be my concern with Giddey. And Drake, like I said, he would hit me up like, "Yo, Giddey." I'd be like, no, get Giddey out of here. I don't want Giddey. And I just started watching him. That man was balling at the end of the season. Like he was going crazy. So man, I'm not against it, but that also brings another problem to the forefront of backcourt defense.
Let's start with how Doug and Scott Perry want to build this team.
Colin Sexton might fit the mold.
Colin Sexton might be the closest. Jrue Holiday is a great fit too. I think there are two hangups with Jrue Holiday for Kings fans: age and contract, because you have to pay it. Kings fans have to pay it when you acquire someone. So I think those are the two things that are standing out most about Jrue Holiday.
I agree.
Love the idea of Colin Sexton, though. There might be a little. I don't know if reservation's the right word, because it's a 1 year. Yo, let's go out there. Let's do this right now. You need it to work. I don't imagine there's any scenario where Sacramento winds up the only team in the Colin Sexton business after the year.
Maybe
because he's unrestricted free agent. You said right.
He's
I just closed it. I
unrestricted.
pulled up Josh Giddey's.
He's unrestricted.
Yeah.
But remember when what was the scenario where nobody wanted to sign Colin Sexton? Was it after a trade, or he was a restricted free agent with Cleveland? But remember, he was just kind of he had come off the ACL tear, so there was that. But yeah, nobody wanted Colin Sexton for whatever reason.
That's when he was with Cleveland, right?
I think so.
That's when he was still with Cleveland.
I think so. And Cleveland was like making moves, trying to get better, and I guess we'll just re-sign him and use him as an asset. And that's what they did.
What they did.
What do you think Scott Perry and Doug would say if we asked them what the long-term plan is here as far as building out the roster?
I don't think they'd tell us. I don't know. Like my thing is
like what do you think they tell each other? Like, what do you think their plan is?
Is my thinking like flawed in that you try to get younger with the older assets that you have and use them as like best you can? DeMar is going to have suitors, and we'll talk about that in a second. DeMar is going to have teams that want to acquire him.
Yeah.
You've got to pick and choose. Like, obviously, money has to work. It's got to work through the league and all of that, but you've got to pick. You don't want to bring back another 36-year-old, right? Ideally, you'd like to bring someone back
ideally, yes.
roughly a decade younger.
Yeah. Ideally, yes. I think they're going to try to win games, and they're going to reshape this roster while winning games. I think that's what they're going to try to do. I don't think they're in the business of losing, like we talked about. There are some holes. There are some things they want to change. But I think they're going to try to win, be a playoff team, and reshape this roster while winning.
Aldrin Jaden, same thinking as me. Do you think DeMar could get you a Jaime Jaquez type?
I don't know if he can get you Jaime and a first rounder. I think
not a first rounder. Besides the first rounder, my question was just the Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,